Hello, I'm Sarah, and my theory textbook of choice that I chose was Disrupting Thinking by Kylie Beers and Robert Probst. Sorry, my hair is very crazy right now. Okay, so I took some notes while I was reading, obviously, as we were asked to do, and the critical theme of the book that I determined, it actually said it at the end of either the introduction or chapter 1. So I copied it down. I'm going to read it to you and then talk to you about what I interpret that as. So the theme is changing thinking. And then it went on to say that at its heart, this book is an exploration of how we help students become the reader who does so many things more than decode. The reader is responsive, aware of their feelings and thoughts, responsible, reflective, and willing to either hold fast or change as reason and evidence dictate. So as the book went on, that theme continued, and the big idea was that for a really long time, we've taught students you need to learn your phonics, you need to figure out how to identify like exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution, like be able to do a plot chart. But there's more to it than that, especially when the kids that these people interviewed were talking and they're like, no, I don't like reading because all we do is read a passage, answer a bunch of questions to make sure we know what we're talking about, and repeat that, and we don't like that. So what the authors of Disrupting Thinking were trying to get across was that we need to start teaching students reading for the sake of reading in a way. Obviously, we want them to know how to engage with the text so that they're getting the most out of the reading that they possibly can. But we need to reteach kids how to love reading. And by doing that, we're going to teach them how to be better readers, how to decode the message, and how to really engage with the text. And that's something that they said, I've heard it a million times. And I remember being in elementary school and middle school and high school and even college, and they would say, or like a teacher would say, engage with the text. And in my brain, I like sort of knew what that meant, but until I read this textbook, really did not understand what that meant, because I had like this preconception of like physically engaging with the text. Like I'm flipping the pages, my eyes are scanning, my eyes are moving, I'm getting sort of what's going on, so I'm engaging with the text. But the authors here said that you need to emotionally engage with the text, which was something new, like not necessarily a completely new concept for me, because I've done it without thinking about it before. I remember reading The Kite Runner, and I got to a part towards the end where the bully is now an adult and he comes back into the narrative, and I got so mad. I like slammed my book on the car that I was sitting in while I was reading it. And so maybe not that emotional is what they're going for, but making it personal so that they understand more what they're reading, and then they remember it, retain it, and they can use the readings that they've just gone through and information that they've just gathered in order to make themselves better people, make the world around them a better place, because that's ultimately the goal while we are here trying to educate these young citizens. There's so much more that I want to say about this book because there was a lot in it, but I have less than a minute left. I will say that I highlighted two very important things that were important to me. We want our next generation to be able to answer. Sorry, let me try that again. We want our next generation to be able to do more than answer questions. They must be able to raise questions as well, which asking questions is something that I think is a lot harder than people realize it is. I'm of the school of thought that the more you know about something, the more questions you have, or the better questions you're able to pose. And the final thought that I will leave you with as time is expiring here is that we need to get our students to ask, what does this text say to me? How does it change who I am, and how could it change the world? Because at the end of the day, we're doing more than trying to get our kids to get A's and B's on their papers and to just get through a text and struggle through it and not really care. We want our kids to emotionally engage with the text and be able to apply it to different situations in their lives, so maybe it's their way of learning in a safe environment through the eyes of somebody else. And I have so much more that I'd love to say, but I'm out of time, so thank you.